stones and rocks and metaphysical things, different things that just get right to your heart. But anyway, let's go in and meet the owner and see what the shop looks like. Wow. How you doing, Allison?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad.
Good.
It's so good to see you.
It is. Welcome to our shop.
Yeah, I remember the first time we met, you were like in a little log cabin out of town.
Yes.
And it was so interesting. It was out in Killen, I believe. And it used to be called Uncle Charlie's, was it?
At one time, the building or the facility where we were located was a flea market, and it had been the gathering place of the community for many, many years. And then it turned into a haunted attraction, and we started doing a gift shop during the nights that the haunted attraction was open, which was mainly just the multiple nights during the month of October. My husband and I, that was a hobby business for us. We both had full-time jobs, and we really didn't focus very much on crystals at that point. It was mainly Halloween, oddities, jewelry, that sort of thing. And when people ask, as they do, how did you end up in this? Because we've not spent a lifetime studying crystals and being involved in the work and the energy work. Literally, the universe just pushed us in that direction, just continuously, and it was like just staying on that path.
It seems like about 2012, it seems like things changed.
They did. They really did. When we traveled, like you do, you always have a certain type of thing you might purchase, a Christmas ornament or a piece of jewelry just to remember your trip. Well, we did tend to buy rocks or fossils just because they were beautiful. We were in Savannah, Georgia at a farmer's market, and just taking in the sights, and there happened to be a table of different stones and crystals. There was a carved skull that we purchased, and then this beautiful bright blue flashy stone. Had no idea what on this earth it was. It was just very nice. So years later, we would use a lot of our own personal effects like that to decorate with, to merchandise our own products. Well, they weren't for sale, but people started asking continuously, well, how much is that? Can I buy that? I'm like, this is my rock. I can't sell my rock, and my jewelry looks too good on my rock. So I still had no idea what that rock was. No idea. And then right after COVID, we were still trying to figure out, how do we keep, business alive? What do we do for our kids and families coming in? Kids always love rocks and fossils. They have $5 or $10 to spend. We had a niece from Colorado who said, yeah, let's help you do all this. So we ended up with this small, really, we thought it was a huge batch of different types of crystals and agate slices and different things like that. And I mean, it was amazing the response we got. We had no idea people were so enthralled with crystals. And I hear my niece talk about properties and the healing, and it can do this. And that was a whole nother world I didn't know existed until I started doing my own research. And I didn't know, literally, it is a whole nother universe out there. So fast forward, business exploded. I had so many new customers that were just desperately seeking the healing energies and powers and just the beauty of the stones. And that allowed me to be able to retire from a full-time job of 26 years to do this full-time. It's the greatest thing that could have ever happened.
Fantastic.
And my husband, he's here every afternoon and weekend with me. He's getting ready to retire soon as well. So it's just something that is very much a family business, but definitely a passion. And every single thing along the way has been just a God thing or a universe thing, from where we've found to travel, from finding vendors, everything. It's just all been an amazing, just, drop it on us. And
yeah, I mean, it takes you everywhere, all sorts of different states. Like you just came back from Arizona. I also lived in Arizona for about 10 years. It's incredible. You would think, oh, the desert, there's nothing out there. Oh my goodness. there's a lot in the desert. And those hills, they got stuff in them.
Oh, they
And
do.
it's incredible.
What the fascinating thing to me, there's so many facets, like literally facets to the crystal world. You have where they come from. There are types of crystals that can be found everywhere. Amethyst can be found lots of places. Obsidian can be found lots of places, just based on the geology, the different things that were happening during the formation, you know, many years ago. But then there's some things that are only found in certain spots in the whole entire world. One little tiny spot, grape agate, for instance, Indonesia. There is this really specific type of amethyst called Veracruz. Only comes from Veracruz, Mexico. There are things that come from Russia, such as
Shungite.
Shungite, which is a very important stone in itself. So just about every country does have its own native crystal. That's fascinating. Then you look at the history of the stones. You can trace back to see what ancient civilizations were using the stones for. The Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians, the Asians. They were using those stones.
The Babylonians, the Sumerians.
All of them for healing. Because that was what was given to them. That was what was available. So much of that knowledge has been lost. But, whenever you kind of put that in perspective, these crystals have been given to us, gifted to us for our benefit. Regardless of how you think spiritually, but the crystals have been formed in nature on a more permanent basis than even maybe plants or flowers, things that we use daily.
Yeah, everything's for a purpose.
Everything is for a purpose,
Yes.
for our benefit, for our use. So when you start to open your eyes and see that, you can't help but be so enamored and amazed and grateful and thankful to just be able to access these types of materials.
Yeah, and it's everywhere. And you have yourself surrounded by so much vibrations and frequencies here of these stones. It's just incredible. When I come in here, I get this tingly feeling. It's amazing. Well, how about you give us a tour?
Sure.
Give us maybe an overall tour, and then maybe in a few months or a year from now, I'll come back and we'll specialize on some really interesting new stuff that you got.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm going to start with this beauty right here. This is one of a set. They're twin towers, amethyst cathedrals, amethyst towers.
And there's
This
the
at
other
one
one.
point they were one solid geode. When they're split in half, you could get up very, very close to both of them and see that even from the tiniest crystal formations and points in the top all the way to the bottom, as they get larger and larger, they're identical. How did we come to find these? Again, the universe. We were struggling with finding great wholesalers, reliable wholesalers. We happened to be on a family business trip, not even about crystals, just other family business. Come across a person in a parking lot of a rock store who had rocks in the back of their truck. We strike up a conversation, discover they're a major wholesaler. And, we're a retailer. We're trying to find wholesalers. As it turned out, they lived and their warehouses were located 4 miles from where our family lived.
Oh, wow.
And they've ended up becoming mentors to us. When we go to shows, they make sure we know where we're supposed to be, what vendors to see, where to go, what materials are trending, offer things to us to get to come shop in their warehouses, maybe before everybody else does. So even the littlest things like that, I mean, really in the grand scheme of our business, a very small mom and pop, something like that is very huge. You just don't get those
absolutely.
opportunities. They're just like maybe once in a lifetime. So what we wanted to focus on is, what were our customers asking for? Tumbled stone, that was one of the biggest things. Individual tumbled stones for all the different chakras, the different healing properties. So we have about at least 250 different types of tumbled stones in different materials. We have a wall that has been dedicated to many of them. We try to keep everything alphabetized. We spend a great deal of time learning the stones ourselves, So when people come and ask, we have materials we can hand them, but we get out our books, not just our apps or the internet. We get out actual books to help really personalize each experience, for our customers. So when they're asking about maybe this issue or that issue, we look at all the resources we can find to make sure they're getting the proper stones to take back with them. So tumbled stones was really important to us. So they're kind of scattered out throughout the shop. And then, of course, we have so many different varieties of palm stones because, some people want their tumbled stones. Some definitely need their palm stones. That's a good way to keep in your palm for a distraction tool, a focus tool. Just taking in that energy to help overcome whatever it is you've got going on at that moment. And then, of course, we have the beautiful, lots of raw cluster formations, just exactly how it would be found. Very, very beautiful pieces. And then based on the use of your stones, if you prefer to have spheres, so that energy is emanating from all directions from your sphere, or if you like more of the free-form pieces, we can take care of that. We can also help you if you're looking for more of the obelisks or tower formations.
My favorite.
Everybody has their favorite. That's exactly right. That's the fun thing about it. So we have all that. Selenite, probably one of your core materials that you need to have with your collection, or just within any type of crystals that you're using, because this is your 24/7 charging and cleansing stone. Cleansing and charging. Your stones are just like a cell phone. They die. The energy's gone. They do the work for us. They take the hits for us. They block so much and absorb so much negative energy. They're just constantly going to battle for us. So they have to be recharged and rested, basically. So if there's no full moon and you don't have access to a great space to put your stones outside or in the moonlight, selenite, you can keep this in your...
Yeah, it's fantastic. You can take and, like here, you have an example of how to take and cleanse your stone right there. You just set it in the selenite.
That's it. And your selenite itself does not ever have to be recharged. If you feel like it does, you can always just sit it outside in the sun for a few hours and then it's just ready to go.
Or you can bury it in the ground.
You can do that.
You can put it in the moonlight.
Yes.
There's so many different ways.
So
You
many
can
ways.
smudge it. You can use Palo Santo. I mean, so many different ways depending on your circumstance on how to do it.
Exactly.
Selenite, you need to make sure you don't get it too close and too wet with water because it is a soluble.
It is. It's very porous and...
Very close to salt.
Yes. And it can dissolve and be gone.
Yes, it'll go away on you.
It can.
Yes.
It can. Of course, then, as I mentioned, spheres, lots of varieties. And you will find on your journey what particular types of pieces that you tend to favor. For some people, it's very much a feeling. They have some sort of sensation. There's, a flushing, a burning, a tingling, an overall sense of calm or joy, peace. For me, it is very visual. I'm a very, very visual person. So if I see a particular stone that's speaking to me, it's as if I am in a museum, fine art museum, and I'm looking at a masterpiece. And what your brain would do when you see that masterpiece, it's like everything is just clicking, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, the beauty of it, how did they do that? It looks so real. Just all these things are going through your brain when you're looking at that. Well, that's what happens when a stone is speaking to me. So just because you don't have this zap when you touch it that your friend has, or the same maybe overwhelming sense of calm, or whatever anybody else that you are talking to about this, however they feel about the stone when they touch it, don't think that your experience is going to be the same, because it's not. It's different for everyone. So my gift literally is the visual part of it.
Yes. Would you agree that we all have that, but we have to learn how to feel it?
100%. I have a customer, everything that is speaking to her, she sees a face or an animal in it. Everything. every single thing. And she said not too long ago, I wish I could feel it. And I was like, but you do. That's how you feel it. That's your gift. You can see those things. It's so plain and so clear. That is your gift. And many people can't look at that and see that. But, you know, they might get a zap off of it.
Yeah, well, for me, it's like a chill up my spine.
Yeah.
I just like, ooh, you know, boy, that's so nice.
Yeah, exactly. So it's your own journey. It's so personalized and so individualized. You can't just carbon copy what somebody else is doing. It just doesn't work quite that way.
And that's what I'm all about, is finding that journey for people. That's why my YouTube channel is called Finding the Crystal Road.
It is. Oh, yes.
And I couldn't think of a better metaphor for everything that's around us.
It is.
We're all connected.
We are. We absolutely are. And the journey, the journey is so different for all of us, but it almost seems like all of us have been almost like in this wheel, and we're just rolling and rolling and rolling with no sense of direction, and all of a sudden we're dumped out, and you're like, whoa, hey, wait a minute, I didn't know this existed. What do I do? Where do I start? And, you know, there's the rabbit hole. Please don't go down it. You know, use these resources to try to help you, you know, hone in to learn how to learn about the different crystals.
Well, there's frequencies in every single one of these stones, and it's a different one for each type of stone, for each type of color.
Yeah. And we are made up of frequency as well.
Yes.
You know, that's what I think gets lost sometimes when people just think, oh, it's just a rock. Well, it's not. There's energy there. There's energy there, and you know, there is a connection, and you know, there's just so many things that you can, you know.
Oh, we could talk about this for
weeks. Hours. We sure could.
It's just incredible.
So bracelets. This is another important type of way to wear your bracelet.
We like bracelets.
Yes. So we run into a lot, you know, people, I mean, they're you know, armed all the way up to the elbow with their bracelets. That's the way that they like to use their stones. That's the way that they you know, do their work the best for them. So, you know, you need to try that out as well. So we do have a large variety of bracelets.
Oh, that's a very nice selection.
Yeah.
Really, really is.
One of the, I think the most favorite thing, especially I would say young people, but it's not. I did have one customer, I mean, they pegged this perfectly. So this is our $5 box. You can get your bag, fill your bag. You can dig and dig and dig. You can spend an hour digging for just the right stones. But I had a customer say one day, this is a gateway drug for crystals. And it really is. But this is so much fun, and it's a great way to get introduced, especially to get kids introduced
and it
to
makes a good gift for people.
Oh my goodness. I do have so many customers that do these bags. They keep them with them all the time so they can gift stones, which is another part of this journey that is such a blessing. When you gift a stone to somebody and you see their reaction, it's like you've given them a piece of gold, literally. It really is. So we have things like this. I will mention this really quickly. We won't spend because we could spend a month talking about moldavite. We do have moldavite, very important crystal, tektite, part of a meteorite or a byproduct of a meteorite, probably one of the most important ones that exist. And it is a journey all on its own whenever you're working with moldavite. Moldavite, it's like I said, it's a tektite. So when you have a meteor that crashes into the earth, causes that great big crater, all that material has to go somewhere. So it is, you know, driven up into the Earth's atmosphere, mixes with all the space trash coming down and particles of the meteor. And with all the heat and everything that's going on, we'll usually turn from that solid to a liquid to a gas, and as it's coming back down during the cooling process, back to a solid, little pieces, and they call that the splash, or the splash field, all those pieces where they fall. But those individual pieces are called tektites. And moldavite is thought to be, you know, one of the four cornerstones, but a very important stone. And you'll see lots of theories and information out there. But if you're interested in taking a dive into Moldavite, definitely do a lot of research before you get a hold of that one.
Okay, that is something that I'm not too familiar with, but we will take and do that research
Yes,
for sure.
yeah, absolutely. Very transformational stone is what it is, but a lot of sometimes extreme transformation in a good way, but sometimes transformation has, is a roller coaster on the way.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, exactly. So we also have some pieces that are a little bit more showy. We like to buy things that we like, that we think are the most amazing pieces. This is a piece of Super 7 amethyst. We know this is an authentic piece based on the provenance that it comes with. This is a museum quality piece. Super 7, another one of those pieces, the mine that it comes from is flooded, so you can't actually get it anymore. Pieces on the market now that are sold as Super 7, a lot of times they can come from India or other parts of South America, can be Super 5, Super 6. True Super 7, you should be able to see all 7 minerals within that one piece. So you have quartz, amethyst, a smoky, lepidocrosite, goethite, and one more that I just can't even remember right now. There's 7 of them. But this is a museum quality piece. So you can't, we don't even keep this at home because we want people to be able to see that and enjoy it. We have a 45-pound piece of grape agate as well, another museum quality personal piece, but people can get to enjoy it and see it. So we're not just about the rocks and crystals. Oddities is a real important part of our customer base, what our customers are looking for. So it's
the
also
metaphysical.
The metaphysical, yes.
Yes.
So oddities is another thing that we concentrate on. So we have oddities, but we also have a lot of raw crystal specimens. That's another important aspect to our business. And fossils. So let me take you through here real quick and I'll show you.
We like the dinosaurs.
Yes. Kind of a good example of some things that you would see if you were collecting or just wanted to see. This is just a small selection of crinoid stem plate, ammonites. Oh, see these guys right here, this is Uperlite, this is UV reactive. This whole shelf is UV reactive. So when we have our black light, it all just UVs.
Right.
Yeah, that's a lot of crystals do. But with fossils, you've got, starfish. We keep a lot of other ammonites from the polished to the raw. Lots of different types of teeth, mosasaur teeth, shark teeth. We have big ones. We have gastropods, zigzag oysters. We have these little sand dollars. We just have all types of amazing little tiny fossils that you can take back with you that are very affordable, but really, basically really cool to keep in your collection.
And what's amazing is we've been walking on this stuff all our life.
Oh, of course.
And we don't know.
That's right.
It's hard telling what's under our feet right now.
I know.
If you could go far enough.
So much. Another important part of your crystal journey should be incorporating sage or incense into smudging or cleansing, purification, meditation, intention work, all of those things. And white sage, again, being a novice, sage is sage. Sage is not just sage. You've got different combinations that will work for different intentions, different needs. Cedar, blue sage, mugwort, combinations of lavender or other flower petals that are incorporated into those smudge sticks. We have instructions on how you actually use these in your home or in your crystal, in your space for cleansing and purification. But that is a good way to incorporate. And when you smudge and cleanse, you usually will feel, the way I describe it is it just feels nice and clean and light in your space. Incense, another great way to use in your meditation or, it really is a good way to just basically calm and sit and, sit with yourself, with your crystal, your surroundings.
To clear your mind.
Absolutely.
And it makes your house smell good too.
It does, yes, it does. This is a good example of specimens, rare specimens that you can find. this is one of my favorites. This Lemurian and Smoky Quartz mixed. It's about 17 pounds. Well, somewhere between 12 and 17 pounds. And when we first got it, and I was trying to just figure out where we were going to put it in the shop, I realized I was carrying it around like a baby. And I was carrying it around for about 10 minutes, and I was like, well, I can't carry this around all the time. It's got to have a place. So, but, you know, sometimes when you do, you know, have a piece like that, it's just, I don't know, it's hard to even describe to anybody else. But when you have one of those pieces that you have a connection to, you just tend to know it. But again, you know, rare specimens, really beautiful things from the earth. And then with oddities, another part of nature that people like to enjoy, that, you know, these are ethically sourced, different insects, bats, we have butterflies that are framed, that's, you know, for me, they become pieces of art in your home, conversation pieces, and another way that you can just enjoy what nature has given us.
Definitely.
Yeah. Meteorite, tektite materials. This is a big, giant piece of Libyan desert glass. Libyan desert glass is from an event that took place in the Libyan desert. Sometimes it's called King Tut's tektite. When they opened King Tut's tomb, there was a really large carving on the breastplate that was carved out of this particular material. I know, yeah. When they first looked at it, they just thought it was like a yellow quartz, but it turned out to be Libyan desert glass. So, agnaminotite is another one that's a really good one. Then we have some actual, you know, meteorites, not just the tektites, that are from different regions that are identifiable based on their look, the studies that have been done on those pieces, which is important that you know how to identify those types of things.
And what do we got here?
Well, you know, that's
a fun thing.
It is a fun thing. That is the Fiji mermaid. It's actually a replica of the Fiji mermaid. I have to explain this because you have to be really of a certain age to understand what this is or where it comes from. So in the, you know, late 1800s, early 1900s, there in the circus, there was the freak show where you could go and pay your nickel and get to see all the, you know, exotic things from around the world, and someone had made a gaff, which is what that's called, and they had taken the body of a fish and monkey and put them together and called it the Fiji mermaid. So this is a replica piece that we get just because of the oddities that we also enjoy, and it's a good way to keep people guessing, is that really real? I have people that do think that, but for kids especially, trying to explain that is a whole other thing. It's very interesting, very, very much. Again, with some of our fossils, we have things that, some of these ammonites, the really cool thing is when you go to a show, you go to a small vendor, and they're the ones who actually did the mining. These come from the UK, and if you watch, you can just look up UK ammonites, and they're everywhere. I mean, and so you'll have, you know, different people that will go along these beaches and on those rocky crevices. They know what to look for, and sometimes they call them bowling balls. They look like just bowling balls. They smash them open like geodes, and there's these amazing ammonite fossils that are inside. So getting to actually purchase those from the people that find them, that's really a lot of fun.
And then we have a piece of what is this? Purpleite.
Purpurite. Yes.
That is beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is. That's the actual natural coloration of purpurite. It almost has this in the same maybe chemical formation of labradorite, but it's you know, sometimes the colors like that, it's like, wow, it's so beautiful.
It's such a deep, pure color.
It is. It definitely is. These two are probably the the rarest items that we have, clearly.
Okay.
They are real, authentic skulls. This is from a mosasaur, this big guy right here. He would have been about 25 to 30 feet long. This guy lived in the ocean, and he was the megalodon's main predator. Nothing else could get to the megalodon but the mosasaur because and I guess I don't know how they figured this out, but you can look it up.
Okay.
That because of their big jaws, they could come up and just, that was how they work. And this is a plesiosaur skull as well. But then lots of other smaller things that you can take home, like woolly mammoth, molar fragments, these different urchin formations, again, more ammonites, all kinds of little trilobites. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of species of trilobites that are found today. So, all of these kinds of things are...
Yeah, it looks like shark teeth behind there.
Oh yeah, we have, of course, shark teeth. Most of these things we buy in person, so we know exactly who we're getting them from, which is, again, part of the more, I think, fun, aspect of this business is meeting all these different people that do this, that are just kind of in this, again, for, preservation, so that these types of items get to be seen and enjoyed, and they don't just deteriorate.
That's the reason I like to get things from you, because I know it's authentic and it's real. I've ordered things on Amazon and Temu and Etsy. I get them and they're plastic or they're resin.
Right.
And I got one that was spray painted to look like a different color from a company, and I thought, how disappointing. It's like you get what you paid for.
Of course, it is. And there are many trustworthy, wonderful online sellers. You just have to be very careful and vet who you're purchasing from. And most of the time, if it's too good to be true, it probably is going to be something that's fake. That's part of your education process, though, of discernment of what is fake, counterfeit, how to tell what is real. What are those things that you have to look for, and we all get taken.
Yeah, you got to take your chance.
You do.
And every once in a while you get a real jewel.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you just, one of those things, you just have to do your research. This is probably, this shelf right here, these three, when we were at the Tucson show, I just had no idea I was going to run into this. We walked into this outback Australian mining outfit. They were the miners. They owned the mine. They were the ones that found this material. You could go to their Instagram and YouTube channels. You could watch them getting these big giant boulders out of the ground and then slicing them. And these materials were just there. I mean, that's the
it's
amazing
gorgeous
thing. These are all things that are very native to Australia. This is peanut wood, which is an actual type of petrified wood. This is mookite. It's found near Mooka Creek. Mooka Creek, that means running water, what the indigenous believed. Just the colors of it, it makes my brain explode.
Yeah, I don't know if you were here or not, but I got one of those
Yes,
from
you did. Yeah. And so what's the really fun thing is when we can help a customer connect to the stone itself, because every single one of these we hand picked out of a big giant bin that was there. We picked every one of these. We didn't just take a bucket and scoop them.
The markings are so unique on mookite.
Absolutely. Very distinct. Very, very. All but every one of these pieces were slabs. When I walked in, I was just like, okay, I'll take that one and that one. And Narina, I don't know why I was so drawn to Narina Jasper, but the coloration on that was just so...
the geometry in it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It was just one of those really beautiful
And at first
things.
glance, this looks like tiger's eye, but it's not.
It's called Desert Sunset. Now you will find tiger's eye or tiger iron in Australia. So it probably has some of the same
properties
chemical makeup or formations as that. But so this is something, again, very fun. We've picked it. I mean, it's just part of us. And so when customers come in, we kind of help them to connect to it as well.
Fantastic.
Yes.
It looks like we've just about come full
Yes.
circle. You do have part of my passion.
Yes.
The Egyptian
So again,
part.
the fun part about our particular business is we get to pick the different types of items and materials that we sell. I also am very much a fan of Egyptian mythology. It's it's fascinating. And all mythologies are, but this, in particular, I'm drawn to this very much, and a lot of people are.
It's a real part of our past.
It is absolutely a part of our past and culture. So I found a company where all these pieces are made in Egypt. These are beautiful replicas of what you would find, or what would have been found in tombs, in the statuary, in the different temples, in the hieroglyphs, paintings, all the decoration. These would have just been part of daily life. So if you like to incorporate, mythology into your whole, into your whole journey of your crystals, and just again, this is one of these things. They're beautiful to have conversation pieces. This to me is just as beautiful as having an antique vase in your home.
Oh, absolutely.
It's something that you love, that you connect to, and that you really treasure. So, and again, just another little aspect of what we can do here.
Yeah, Egyptology is just one of my favorite subjects. I'll be having several different discussions about Egyptology.
Yes.
So I thank you so much.
Yes, of course.
Allison.
Thank you so much.
It's been wonderful. It's been an experience. You have the Macy's of the rock shops here.
Well, thank you so much.
You've come so far. I mean, you've had
Short
such
time.
a cute little place. Was that your first place to have
yes.
in Killen? Okay.
Yeah.
And it was so cute. And when you came here, I'm like, I kind of miss that little place. But when I seen it in here, and that was, 2, 3 years ago?
2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago, I'm like, wow.
Right.
You got breathing room in here. The other was a little bit tight.
Very tight
over
and
there.
very sort of a mismatched, everything just had to be put where it could fit. So
Yeah.
nothing
Only
made
Allison knew where
sense.
things were.
Well, exactly. And so you might have your oddities next to tumbled, and just none of it made sense because of the space. But this was so well thought out and planned for this move. And we really wanted to have the look and feel of a museum, but still have that amazing, vibe and calm and peace when people walk in. And
Yeah.
I do hear that daily, and they'll have a lot of people that come in
It
just
almost
for that
feels
atmosphere.
like the Smithsonian Natural Museum in here. It's fantastic.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much,
Thank you so
Allison.
much.
And I look forward to seeing you guys again right away. You got lots of things I still want to get.
Okay.
So anyway, that's it.
Okay, thanks so
Have a good
much.
day. Bye-bye.